What if everything we've been taught about death is wrong? What if instead of being the end, it's actually the beginning of something even greater? We fear death, but what if it's not something to be afraid of at all? What if it's just another phase in the grand cycle of life? Like the changing seasons, the Buddha once said that all things are impermanent, including death. But why, then, do we see it as something tragic? Let's take a deep dive into why death should not be feared, but embraced. From the moment we are born, we are unknowingly moving toward death. It's an undeniable truth of existence, yet it's something many of us prefer to avoid, to pretend doesn't exist. Death, the final frontier, is often seen as the great unknown, an ending, a loss, a source of immense fear. But why do we fear it so much? Why do we resist something that is as much a part of life as the very breath we take? What if we told you that death isn't the end at all? What if it's simply another transition, just like the change from summer to autumn, or night to day? The Buddha, in his infinite wisdom, taught that all things in this world are impermanent. Everything is in constant flux. Answer is death. It's not something to be feared. It's just another phase in the cycle of life. As natural as the seasons changing or the river flowing. In many cultures, death is seen as something tragic, something to be resisted at all costs. We make it an enemy, something to fight against. But in Buddhism, death is not an adversary. It's simply another door, another step in the endless journey of existence. The Buddha spoke of the law of impermanence, anicca, that nothing in life remains the same. Not even us. Just as the river's waters continuously flow, never staying still, so too do we flow through life, constantly changing. Death isn't a final stop. It's merely a continuation, a new chapter, a doorway to another state of being. When we understand this deeply, we start to release our fear. We see that death is not something we need to be anxious about, but rather a natural rhythm in the grand scheme of things. So often, we fear death because we are attached to the idea of self. We cling to the notion that we are this body, this mind, this personality, but the Buddha taught us the truth of anatta. The no self, what we call me, is just a temporary collection of thoughts, emotions, and experiences. Our bodies are in a constant state of change. Our cells from 10 years ago are no longer the same cells we have now. So what is it that we are so afraid of losing? When we let go of the illusion of a permanent self, we also let go of the fear of death. If there is no permanent me, then what is there to lose? The world around us is constantly changing. Flowers bloom and fade. Rivers flow and shift. The seasons change from spring to winter. Nothing stays the same. This is the truth of impermanence. We suffer because we resist change, because we cling to youth and fear old age, because we hold on to loved ones, terrified of losing them. But no matter how tightly we grasp, life continues its unstoppable march forward. Once we accept the law of impermanence, we find peace. We begin to see that everything, including death, is part of this beautiful, natural process. Instead of fearing the end, we start to embrace each moment, fully appreciating that life itself is a fleeting, precious gift. In Buddhism, death is not an end. It's merely a transition. The law of karma tells us that our thoughts, words, and actions shape the future. Just like a farmer plants seeds and reaps a harvest later, the energy we create in this life moves with us into the next. The Buddha compared death to changing clothes. When our robes become worn and tattered, we discard them and put on new ones. Likewise, when our physical bodies can no longer serve us, our consciousness moves forward, shaped by the karma we have created. If we live a life of kindness, wisdom, and mindfulness, we accumulate positive karma. This ensures a peaceful transition and a favorable rebirth. So instead of fearing death, we should focus on living well, living in a way that ensures when our time comes, we can leave this world with a heart full of peace, not regret. What happens when we focus too much on the fear of death? Instead of living fully, what would life look like if we truly embraced impermanence and let go of the anxieties surrounding the end? To explore that, let's take a deeper dive into the teachings the Buddha shared about living mindfully, about shedding fear and embracing life in all its fleeting beauty. Now that we've explored the Buddhist perspective on death and the impermanence of life, let's continue to dive deeper into how we can live in a way that aligns with these teachings. Through mindfulness and wisdom, we can create the life we truly desire. Let's take a look at how this deeper understanding of life and death can shape our everyday experiences. As we delved into earlier, death is not the end, but rather a natural part of the cycle of life. Yet, the question remains, why do we still fear it, especially when we face the things we hold dearest? Why does the very idea of death evoke such anxiety? Let's continue this exploration to understand why letting go of attachment can help us live more fully, and how we can embrace the idea of death without fear. This understanding, when internalized, can truly free us from the burden of fear and open the door to a more peaceful existence. We all fear the idea of losing the things we love, whether it's our relationships, our possessions, or the achievements we've worked so hard to attain. Every day, we find ourselves haunted by the thought of losing what we've built, the people we hold dear, and the identities we've spent a lifetime creating. We cling to these things because we believe they define us, and we fear that without them, we'll be lost. But what the Buddha taught about attachment runs contrary to these fears. He explained that attachment inevitably leads to suffering because everything we cling to is subject to change. No matter how tightly we grasp, all things are temporary. The more we hold on, the more pain we endure when change inevitably comes. This understanding gives us the opportunity to learn how to let go. It doesn't mean we stop loving, stop caring, or stop investing ourselves in meaningful relationships and experiences. Rather, it teaches us to appreciate our loved ones and life itself without clinging to them in a possessive or fearful way. We can enjoy the moments we have without the constant anxiety of their loss. When death eventually arrives, we can meet it with open arms, embracing the truth that nothing was ever truly ours to begin with. The more we let go of the illusion of possession, the more we can savor the beauty of what we have in the present moment. The practice of mindfulness is a powerful tool that helps us become fully present in each moment, without becoming overwhelmed by past regrets or future anxieties. Through meditation, we train our minds to observe our faults without attachment or judgment. We begin to see that our faults are transient, just like everything else in the world. This helps us face our fears, including the fear of death, with calm awareness and acceptance. Many Buddhist monks prepare for death not by running from the topic, but by reflecting on it daily. They meditate on death as a natural part of life's unfolding, not as something to be feared or avoided. This constant reflection removes the fear of death and allows them to live and die peacefully, with a sense of serenity that comes from acceptance. Through mindfulness, we can all cultivate a mind that is not disturbed by the prospect of death, but rather embraces it as an inevitable and natural part of our journey. Instead of fearing death, we can view it as a teacher, a guide that helps us live more meaningfully. The realization that life is temporary can motivate us to live with greater purpose, to love more deeply, to speak more kindly, and to let go of grudges or resentment. When we accept the brevity of life, we stop wasting time on trivial concerns, and instead, we focus on what truly matters: compassion, wisdom, and inner peace. We start to see the bigger picture, realizing that our actions and faults have a far-reaching impact, and that living with integrity and kindness will lead us to greater peace. The Buddha himself faced the certainty of death without fear. He taught that those who have reached enlightenment do not grieve the end, because they understand that there was never a true beginning or end, only continuous change and transformation. Throughout history, great monks and masters have passed away peacefully, and often even joyfully. Their wisdom and practice have shown us that we too can prepare for death by cultivating a mind that is free from fear, full of understanding and accepting of life's impermanence. Death is not the end. It is not something to be feared. It is simply another part of the grand cycle of existence, a transition that is as natural as any other. When we truly accept this truth, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. We stop resisting life's inevitable changes, and instead, we embrace life fully, knowing that it is all part of a much greater journey. If these Buddhist teachings have touched your heart and opened your mind, please take a moment to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to our channel for more profound Buddhist teachings and life insights. Let us continue to explore these timeless lessons together. Until next time, may you walk the path of wisdom, peace, and inner harmony.